What's up, everybody? Paul here from the Hoops Crew, and it's reaction time to a pretty shock round 23 loss to the Saints. And as I record this, the siren went less than 5 minutes ago, and I'm squeezing this in before we do post-game live because I don't want my opinion to be skewed by Ben's or the multitude of people who are going to come in and undoubtedly vent their spleens. But it was a very disappointing match in the end. We started like a house on fire. We looked unbeatable. We looked like the team who absolutely was making a case for top two and, could make a play on winning the flag this year. And then in the second half of the game, I don't know what Geelong Football Club rocked up. I don't think they did rock up. I think they're still down in the bunker at halftime and haven't come out yet. And we just sent out the Auskick kids to play for us because I don't know, save for a few junk time goals at the very end to Jeremy Cameron, who had a pretty awful night beyond that, beyond those couple goals at the end. I don't think we didn't throw a punch. It was kind of crazy. So let's jump into some of the numbers and we'll start to kind of pull things apart from there. Final scores: 16-11, 107 to Geelong, 14-5, 89. We were lucky to not lose by more. We deserved to lose by probably 7 or 8 goals in the end. Again, save some junk time stuff at the end and some St Kilda. Well, we were more accurate, I guess, relatively. The Worm, tells the story. Like we controlled this thing for the whole first half, and then they exploded in the third quarter, got their tails up, and at that point it was a real tough ask. We kind of held them for a little while, and again another mini explosion in the final term. It was stunning, and I guess before I really start to jump into the team stats, which I can't get the quarter by quarter breakdowns, and I'd really like to see the pressure rating from quarter to quarter. Before I jump into that, it just feels like Geelong of the second half played bruise-free football, hoping to basically preserve bodies, make sure everyone's okay for our finals tilt in a few weeks. And in doing so, they've potentially blown it in terms of the home final. In fact, quite likely to have blown it in terms of the home final. The only opportunity we've got is that we play West Coast in the final week. We probably need to win by 100 points. And Port Adelaide needs to lose to Freo, a very desperate Freo for sure, who will be playing at home. And GWS needs to get rolled by the Dogs in Ballarat, which are both distinct possibilities. Paired with a flogging of West Coast can still allow us to get top two, but we don't deserve it if that's how we're going to carry ourselves tonight. That was appalling what we saw in the second half. They did not lift a finger. And it was plain and clear to see, even on the TV. I didn't need the perspective of Chris Scott or anyone else who was in the stadium looking. It was so clear what St Kilda was doing in terms of switching the ball and the way they wanted to open up the ground and play from there. And Geelong did nothing to stop it. Absolutely nothing, especially in the third. It was shocking, the lack of attention that was being paid to this. And all I can genuinely assume is that Geelong players who are out there today did not want to get hurt because they didn't want to jeopardize their potential opportunity at playing in the finals. And there's a bit of me that kind of hopes that's the case because it means that they weren't signed on for the second half. They weren't, mentally in it. And that, of course, that's going to come back next week when there's a top 2 spot on the line, and it's going to come back in a few weeks when we play in the finals. That what we're going to get going forward is what we saw in the first half and not this bullshit that we saw in the second half, because that was absolutely atrocious. I think this is the most riled up I've been in a reaction all season. Probably shouldn't be doing it right after the game. I haven't cooled the head like I should. But let's jump into some of the team numbers. Dominated in terms of possession. Inside 50s, especially in the second half, they just smacked us. We couldn't get our hands on the ball, especially through that third quarter. But you can see the efficiency was, relatively on par. We somehow won the free kicks again. Hit-outs, clearances, we're getting our hands on the ball where it counted. And then we did nothing with it. We blew it. We dumped the ball inside 50. And this is going to lead to the player numbers, which I think doesn't quite highlight some, I guess, layers to individuals' performances today. And I'll get to some of that shortly. And really highlighted here with the turnover count. Look at that rubbish. Not good enough from the Cats. Possession, again, we just couldn't get our hands on it. That disparity comes from the second half and the second half alone, pretty much. But of course, you can see the final 10 minutes, we were just making opportunities. Hey, Kilda did a great job of ensuring that we just couldn't get hands on the ball, or at least couldn't get clean hands on the ball. And again, another team that's going kick mark against us and being successful. They're going for precision. They're going for smart, opportunistic kicks, and it's working. And it led to easy marks inside 50 and easy opportunities on goal. And yeah, look, the rest of it's all like this. The tackle count. I feel like it was probably heavily skewed our favor in the first half. There was a lot of throwing of bodies around early on, and then I don't know where it went. I don't know where the hunger. I don't know where the desire went. But anyway, moving on to some of the player numbers, and this is where I want to hone in on some things that might be a bit misleading if you purely base it on disposals and those sort of things. I love Jack Bowes. I think he's absolutely underrated. And I think he did a great job getting hands on the ball. He was great in the contest, did a whole range of awesome things, but he just dumped that ball inside 50 tonight, and he really failed our forwards in doing so. There was no lace out stuff. The one time he tried to lace it out was right at the very end, and he put it straight down the throat of a St Kilda player when there's a minute to go and we should be driving the thing deep. He decided to go short in that particular case. Like, his disposal inside 50 tonight was his weakness. And I don't want that to get in the way of what's been an otherwise great season. And honestly, still a great game. Like, he really fought all night for us and did an awesome job. But his disposal inside 50 was incredibly poor. Lawson Humphries did a great job. Max Holmes was well held at different stages, but tried to fight through it. Tom Stewart, similar sort of story, was kind of flying early on and then got very well collared in the second half. Shawnee Manor did a great job. Ollie Dempsey was doing a great job. Danger did a great job. And then things start to kind of trail away from there. Jeremy Cameron didn't have that great a night despite the 3 goals straight and 16 disposals. Just very well held by Josh Battle. Tommy Atkins was strong early, disappeared. Don't know where he went in the second half. Graham Myers was a little bit the same. Collar fought. I think he played a pretty good game. Reece Stanley was up and down. I think he was great in the ruck contest. He tried to stretch Marshall in a range of different scenarios, did a pretty good job. Again, pretty happy with where Reece Stanley's at. Could have done a bit more. I think could have used that body a little bit more, but I think it was a solid performance. Tyson Stengel, solid enough and was kind of robbed of some opportunities throughout the game. Jack Henry, I think, was one of our best. He fought, won almost every contest I feel like he was in tonight. I was really, really happy with the output from Jack Henry, but this tsunami was coming at him and not even he could hold it off. Mark Blitzarves, considering he was back playing, like, I was very, very happy. Like I said last week, it was his best game of the season, and this game was right down the bottom of that, towards the bottom of that list. Not a great effort from him. Ollie Henry went missing after the first quarter. Brad Close basically didn't see him all night, and I don't think that's necessarily his fault. I think a lot of that goes back to the way we were disposing the ball inside 50. We weren't clean. We weren't thinking through it. We were just dumping the ball inside 50 when things got a little bit complicated through the second half, and we didn't play a well thought out game, and the likes of Brad Close, Graham Myers, and those guys suffered as a result. Mitch Nevitt, I love Mitch Nevitt. I think he's going to do some incredible things for the Cats over the course of the next few years. I think he'll be fighting himself out of the team for next week as we kind of load up for finals now and to give it our best shot at winning a top 2 spot. We're going to need to kind of stack the deck a little bit there. Gary Rowan was subbed. Mitch Duncan was the sub. So you can write those 2 off. Gary Rowan kicking a goal and then being subbed immediately after that was a strange decision. Especially, like, I could not complain at all with how Gary was attacking the game as well. So, it was a strange. It was the old game of 2 halves. But this was a very, very poor second half from the Geelong Football Club. And so I can only hope that at this point, going into the game against West Coast next week, we know where we stand. Right now, we have 2 points on Brisbane who are in 5th place, and there'll be points between us and anyone else who's chasing as well. So we've got the opportunity to lock down top 4 at the very, very least by just getting the win against the Eagles. And I would like to think at home that should be a sure thing. But if we could go out there and smack them around by close to 100 points, give ourselves a chance of getting that top 2 spot, because it's distinctly possible, again, that Port and the Giants could lose both of their matches. Despite both teams' great form, they could lose both of their matches. It's a very distinct possibility. So Geelong, you need to get out there, nose over the ball, beat up some players, make your presence known, show to everyone that the second half tonight was just, I don't know. I don't even like the idea that it was a lack of hunger, but show us that it was a lack of hunger, and that, that it's there when it counts. And let's make some things right. Cats fans, let me know what you think in the YouTube comments. I feel like it could be a bit of a bloodbath for Geelong in the comments today, tonight, tomorrow, and for the next few days off the back of this. A very, very disappointing, appalling second half from the Geelong Football Club. I'm really disappointed, a bit embarrassed about what went on there. Being as far ahead as we were, and talking about, okay, this is how we can lock down top 2, and we might be able to kind of position ourselves really, really well to have it basically locked down tonight based on the fact that we play West Coast next week, to then throw it away like that was stunning. And we did nothing to stop St Kilda. The lack of strategic work from either the coach's box or the players on field is baffling to me. But it is what it is. We take the L this week and we rebound for next week. Cats fans, let me know in the comments what you think. Good, bad, otherwise, let me know who some of the best players were. Check us out on Patreon, where you can check out all of our stuff for free for a week before kicking in $5 or $6 for the entire month to support what we're doing, and check out a whole range of exclusives and early access content there as well. You can find me at Paul James Games on socials. And until next time, remain Geelong strong. We'll be back next week. I'll see you later.